Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for coming today. Welcome you to our advisory committee meeting. Today we're going to try to review the scoring process. We've asked the agency members of our committee to come in and help us do that. I'm Lyndall Frager, the Director of the Medical Marijuana Program, and I have the attorneys from the Department of Health here with us. Patty Hogeman, did I get that right? Hagerman, Richard Moore, and Stephen Deerhoff. And then I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves and the departments that you're with. Let's start with the phone folks. Who we got on the phone?
Kelly Dyer.
Okay. And you're with?
Missouri Chamber of Commerce.
Missouri Chamber, okay. Who else is on the phone?
This is Kimberly Gwinston with the Missouri Board of Pharmacy.
Thanks, Kimberly. Anyone else? Okay.
Hui-Ying Johnson with Department of Health, Division of Public and Community Health. I have ag background.
Eric Husty, Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, Bureau of Environmental Health Services.
Michael Halford, Missouri State Highway Patrol.
Ken Palermo, Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, Division of Community and Public Health.
With that, I'll turn it over to Richard Moore to moderate the panel.
So the committee members should have received a series of emails over the last 36 hours or so. There should be 5 documents that we've also printed off and provided for you. We're going to try to go in order down through that set of documents. We're going to be asking you to look at the evaluation criteria. Give us any thoughts you have on that, and hopefully ultimately approve that. So then going to move on to the questions. Questions themselves, what applies to the various applicants as far as what scale, what individual applicants get asked certain questions, as well as the weights within the topic. And then finally, we will look at the topic weights in general of the 10 constitutional topics that we were required to ask upon. So I know there's a few suggested amendments within the committee, and we'll just address those as we get to that. But let's first go to the evaluation criteria scoring table. It looks like this. And for the public, this is a document that's been on the website for a few days now. There are 4 levels of points that can be awarded within this. The questions on a 0 to 10 scale, satisfactory and unsatisfactory scale, yes, no, and no, yes, depending on what is deemed to be an appropriate answer. You can see the various points that are assigned to each of those levels. Does anyone in the committee have any concerns of the evaluation criteria scoring table?
No concerns.
Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting the evaluation criteria scoring table say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
Aye.
Hearing none.
I can't hear. Is there any way that you can speak up?
Yeah, I'll scoot closer to you. So I'll quickly repeat. We just took a vote on the evaluation criteria scoring table. Did you have any concerns with that scoring table?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm going to ask that one more time. All those in favor of accepting the evaluation criteria scoring table say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no.
Aye.
Hearing no no's, the evaluation criteria scoring table is adopted. If you'll then pull out your legal size document that has the questions applies to scoring scale and weight within the topic. This is a listing of all of the various 10 committees' recommendations that have been given to the department. The department then took those and made a few typographical error corrections. We tried to synthesize a few questions where it made sense. If a question was asked one way in one area and a different way in another area, we tried to harmonize those. We looked at who the question applies to in the applies to category. We looked very closely at the scoring scale. We made a few modifications to that from the time that the committees had it. And then we took the scales that the committee gave us as far as importance, and we used those scales to determine the final weight, which is the weight within topic category. with that being said, I'm just going to generally say, does anybody have any questions or concerns, with the exception of Ms. Johnson, to the questions? Okay, so I know you have some amendments, so go ahead and present those.
I think I will go to this table.
However you see fit.
Yeah, for number 97 and 98, we, Mr. Paul Bailey with Department of Agriculture, Plant Industry Division, and myself, we would like to increase the weight of number 97, 98 from 3 to 8. And we would like to reduce the weight of number 99 from 4, also increase from 4 to 5. And we would like to add one more question, similar to the number 116 in the category 9. We want to add a waste management to the plan. And the weight we suggested will be 7. Thank you.
So just for a bit of clarification, Mr. Bailey was also on the Cultivation Committee, and the two of them, so 2/3 of that committee spoke and thought that these things ought to be adjusted. From a department's perspective, this is your committee. We feel that it's fine to do so if that's what you believe ought to occur. Our one recommendation is in regard to the question that they are asking to be added. Our only request is if you modify that question, that you make it the same as question 116, or you change question 116 to be the same as what Ms. Johnson's recommending. With that, I'll leave it to the committee to give your thoughts.
Where do you want to change with 116?
I would like point 16, it's for the waste, storage, and destruction. For my section in the cultivation facility, I would like to add a waste management for the proper disposal, and we prefer to see the waste nutrient recycling plan.
So, just so everyone can understand where we're at, question 116, which is in the infused products category, that question currently reads, describe your plans for waste storage and destruction. I believe Ms. Johnson is asking that a question be added that would read something to the effect of describe your plan for waste management and waste nutrient recycling. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
As I said, whatever the committee's will is fine. We just ask that they mirror each other.
My concern is if they burn, they will add air pollution, and if they dispose, just discard things, it would pollute our environment. And to protect our environmental quality and preserve our natural resources, I would like to add that item.
I will state that the rules have a page and a half on discarding and disposal of waste. They have to comply with all state, federal rules and regulations. So there are minimum requirements on this topic. Any questions, thoughts?
Eric, from a manufacturing perspective, a food product manufacturing perspective, could you comment on what kind of waste you might normally see in the production of
Sure,
certain food stuff?
you have your industrial waste, which is your leftover products from your food manufacturing, your wastewater for, say, cleaning equipment. And there's going to be a human waste component too from the staff that work at the facility. So I kind of view it as really three separate components. You almost have like a gray water component, a black water component, which is all combined into one sewage component. Then you have basically the ingredient component. No matter what type of food manufacturing, you always have some excess ingredients.
Okay.
Mine would be focused on the processing waste, or the debris of the processing.
Right.
So thoughts on
Plant waste.
Plant waste.
the appropriate way to pose the question?
Byproduct. Facility byproduct waste management.
I guess one concern I have with the way the question is phrased, it says waste management and waste nutrient recycling. It doesn't specifically address destruction of waste. So that can certainly be added to the question, but I would like to see, if we're going to go with that language, I'd like to see destruction be added to it. Because there will be some that has to be destroyed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's actually language in the amendment about disposing of waste specific to the product, right? Already, or does it just say abide by the current statute?
In the rules, there are, yes.
Okay.
In the amendment itself, I don't believe that there is.
Okay, but in the rules there already is.
Yeah, there's. In fact, I've got it here if anyone wants to read it.
Okay, all right. And did the rules utilize the word destruction?
Can we add composting or?
That is in the rule.
Okay.
Compost. I'm certain composting is in
Okay,
there.
all right.
So for the purposes of the question, though, thoughts on the language? I guess the first question may be then, should we add something to the cultivation section regarding this? And if so, then we'll deal with the language. Does anybody have a problem with adding a question in this regard? Okay.
No.
All right, so let's add the question. Now the question is, are we going to mirror 116, or are we going to utilize the language provided by Ms. Johnson and potentially add destruction into that?
I think they should mirror each other, no matter what the outcome is, for consistency.
Especially at the end, the storage and destruction part, yes. Maybe we could clear up a little bit after 100 on what components we're talking about. Plant.
Hello, this is Alan joining. Sorry for coming in late.
No problem, Alan. We're currently discussing a potential amendment to question. It would be right after 100, be an addition of a question. And the discussion is between using the phrase, describe your plan for waste management and waste nutrient recycling, versus the language that is currently in 116, which is describe your plans for waste storage and destruction.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so Ken, I'm sorry. You were saying?
I would say I think they should mirror each other for consistency. And as far as delineating what type of waste, I'm not certain it's necessary, especially if it's already codified elsewhere. So essentially, what I would propose is utilizing 116 in addition to what's already under the cultivation section.
I really don't like the destruction part. I think it should be a waste conversion to soil amendment to a useful, something more useful. It could be a fertilization.
The question cannot overrule what the law is going to be within the rule itself. Okay, so, and I'm happy to figure out some way to incorporate both concepts. What if it read, describe your plans for waste storage, waste management, waste nutrient recycling and destruction?
Do we have to have destruction?
It is in the rule itself.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable.
Any other thoughts? All right. So all those in favor of adding, describe your plans for waste storage, waste management, waste nutrient recycling and destruction, following question 100, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Aye.
Sorry about that. Opposed, say no. All right, the ayes have it. I would, let's just go ahead and work through on that question real quick. I would suggest keeping it with a 0 to 10 scoring scale. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay. The question then is the weight within the topic. If you mirror it to what question 116 was, that was a level 8. Ms. Johnson suggested a 7. I'll leave that to the committee to determine.
Which category?
This is your question in cultivation.
We did not have weight before. We did not have the question.
Yes, Ms. Johnson, we did.
So we suggest 7.
Yeah, okay. And that's what I said. And the previous version on the other
other
topic is 8. Any thoughts on the weight within the topic?
I agree.
So what are you good with?
7.
7. Okay. All right. Then let's move over to question 116. I believe that we were all fine mirroring the language I previously stated for the added question. All those in favor of adding or modifying the question to read, describe your plans for waste storage, waste management, waste nutrient recycling and destruction, say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Hearing none, we'll adopt that. Is there any objection with leaving that question at 8, or do you want to change it to a 7? Probably makes sense to mirror the weights.
The consistency should be a 7.
7?
7.
All those in favor of accepting 7, say aye.
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 Opposed, say
Aye.
no. Opposed, say no. Hearing none, we'll change that to 7. Are there any other amendments to questions, the applies to category, the scoring scale, or the weight within topic of the document provided?
Did we finish on the other two?
Oh, yeah, you're correct. Thank you very much. So Ms. Johnson recommended for question 97 to change the 3 of weight to an 8. And that question is, describe the design and size/capacity of your proposed cultivation facility. Thoughts on that?
Do you have an explanation of why you want to move it up to an 8 as opposed to the 3?
Yeah. In our first meeting, we were told that similar question was in the business plan. But when I read the business plan, I did not see the specific questions. So we think it's very important for the cultivation facility to function. They must have a very good design, and if based on their size and capacity. We thought it was one of the 3 core questions for the cultivation facility. We think it's very, very important.
Isn't that in ballot language?
The ballot language provides that they have a maximum sizes that they can be, whether that be the number of plants for an outside facility or 30,000 square feet of flower and canopy space for an indoor facility. So they have a maximum threshold. It's appropriate question for the committee to contemplate whether facilities that max that out is appropriate. Is it also appropriate to have smaller size facilities than that? And are we going to give points just because they're bigger? That's one of the thoughts to consider as you formulate your decision on this.
I don't think we should give points just because they're bigger.
I agree with this statement.
I think it's all depends on what the cap of production we want to see in the whole state. If you don't want overproduction over than the demand, we should regulate less large, more small. That's what I think. You can play with it. Once you have the cap production, then we'll know. And if you cap the number, then we need to play with it. The larger facility will not necessarily having a higher. It's all up to cap production that we set. I don't know who's going to set it. What do you think?
This is your committee.
I think the 3 is appropriate.
So I think the design is, and the 97, 98 is related. If they have a design, use a modern technology, we don't to sustain the production. we want them, compared to the mom and pop greenhouses and the high-end commercial greenhouses, their successful rate is a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
We got to look into that for the production, to secure, to sustainability and keep up the production. I think the technology and the design is very important.
But you could have a smaller size with
You're right,
very,
exactly.
very
They can start with
technological advance
small,
growing.
Right. Has to be well designed. Look into the environmental controls and look into water purification, fertilization. It all should be in the design. It's not in the. I did not see in the business plan. So this has to be there.
With that, taking your point there, I think we should, if we're worried about the production and the technology of it, I think we need to look at the weight of 98 and not 97.
Yeah, that's what I said.
This is Kimberly.
Yes, Kimberly.
I'm sorry, this is Kimberly Grinson with the Board of Pharmacy. I would agree that that information would be important, but I'm wondering if it's covered somewhere else. For example, question 72 through 87, and I'm specifically looking at question 76 that references ISO standards, because ISO standards are very detailed in regards to facilities, environmental conditions, and some of the things that I think you may be talking about. And the majority of those questions, and I'm again looking 72 through 87, are ranked a 5 or an 8, and I'm wondering if the information that the department is referencing may be captured under those other questions.
I would address that by saying that those questions are only being posed to testing facilities that are seeking applications, not cultivation facilities, which is the topic of which Ms. Johnson's trying to address.
Okay.
So back to question 97. Currently 3, suggestion of an 8. Thoughts? Okay. I'll do it this way. Is there a motion to change the 3 to an 8? I assume, Ms. Johnson, you'd like to make that motion.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second? Seeing none, it will remain a 3. Ms. Johnson, I believe you would like to suggest that on question number 98, which is describe the technology to be used in growing medical marijuana in your proposed cultivation facility, that score, the weight within topic, be changed from a 3 to an 8.
Yes.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none. I assume you'd like to make that motion?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay, we have motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on that topic? Hearing none. All those in favor of changing the weight within topic from a 3 to 8 on question number 98, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, telephone. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. We will change 3 to an 8. I believe Ms. Johnson would like to change the weight of question number 99, which reads, describe your plan for good agricultural practices, parentheses gap, comment including any certifications, from a 4 to a 5. Any discussion on that topic?
I think good agricultural practices are a necessity for success for any type of industry that's producing edibles, any sort of product.
Okay. I assume you'd like to make the motion, Ms. Johnson, to change that?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of changing number 99's weight from a 4 to a 5 signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. We will change questions 99's weight from a 4 to a 5. And I believe that concludes your amendments. Is that correct, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Now, are there any other recommended changes to the to the question sheet?
None for me.
Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the questions, the applies to column, the scoring scale, and the weight within topic, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. You've approved the question document. That should take us to, there's two charts showing you the same thing. They both have the yellow highlights on them. The original chart has got a headline that says topic weights recommended by DHSS. This chart has the 10 constitutional topics and the topic weights we recommended. We had a request to provide you a listing of those in, from high to low as far as order, and so that's what the second chart is. These are our recommendations. They are based on nothing but our review of the questions. This is your committee, and we believe that you should feel free to change these in any way you see fit. The one request that we would have would be to not change the 4 that are in highlighted, which are the medical marijuana testing facilities questions, the cultivation facility questions, the dispensary facilities questions, and the infused products manufacturing facility question. We believe that those should all have the same weight because those will be individually asked to the applicants in addition to the general topics of all the remaining. So you'll see that those all in this scenario have a 0.2. We would ask that you keep all 4 of those the same. Otherwise, we need the numbers to add up to 100 for that question and then the additional questions combined. Any thoughts on the appropriate weights?
I would like to consider raising all 4 highlight their topics to 0.3.
Okay.
Because for my cultivation facilities, the site security and somewhat overlapped, like character, veracity, background, qualification, were evaluated in cultivation facilities. So I think if we raise that highlight area to 0.3 and then reduce some other category. I know it may be a little complicated, but then that will make our specific topic stands out way more. That's my personal opinion. Because I feel we're diluted too much.
Any thoughts on the suggestion?
I think having a fifth of the way it's established is appropriate.
For those on the phone, it was suggested that the fifth of the weight was the appropriate way to go. Any other discussion on the topic? Okay. I assume Ms. Johnson, you'd like to move to change that to 0.03, or excuse me, 0.3.
If nobody wants to do it, that's okay.
Well, I mean, do you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I would like to make a
Okay.
motion.
Is there a second? Hearing none, the motion fails for a fail of a second. Any other thoughts on the topic weights? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the topic weights as presented on this document signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say no. The ayes have it. You've approved the topic weights that were recommended by the department. And I believe that concludes our business for today. Director, do you have anything else?
Just thank you once again for coming and helping us out. We're getting to the end of this scoring process. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming.